So I'm not quite comfortable saying I told you so because a young man is injured, and we both love Trey Lance. We loved him the first time we talked to him pre-draft 2021, and wish him the best, a speedy recovery, and hopefully a long, successful, prosperous career. But at the end of last season, so it's funny how fickle people are. At the end of last season, when everybody thought that Jimmy Garoppolo was the reason why, A, they didn't win the Super Bowl against the Chiefs the year before, and B, why they didn't beat the Rams in the NFC Championship game last year and wanted to get rid of him as quickly as possible. I'm like, why would you move on from a guy that you've won with, even if you want to say the Niners have won in spite of him, which I reject, but why would you want to move on from a guy you've won with and turn it over to an unproven guy? I know you traded up to get him, but why not figure out a way to keep them both? So fast forward, shoulder surgery, nobody trades for him. Sure enough, everybody comes to their senses, and he signs a restructured contract, which, by the way, paid him an extra $350,000 for yesterday's win. So now here we are. And
damn, Jimmy. 350 grand.
I'd have been happy with some freeze-dried Chase's choice. So now the NFC West and the NFC looks a lot different. Because with all due respect to Trey Lance and his potential, and it's very unfortunate what happened to him, the Niners just got better. The Niners are the Niners that we know or we knew from last season and the season before, which is a contender with Jimmy Garoppolo under center. I know it was just the Seahawks.
No.
And it was unfortunate.
No.
But they backed their way into an upgrade at quarterback because I hadn't seen anything from Trey Lance to this point that would suggest that he was capable of taking him where Jimmy Garoppolo already has.
I've come a long way on this, and I have switched. I have switched my opinion on it because I'm just thinking about it. I'm thinking about football and other industries, and maybe you've experienced it. You're one of those people who's experienced it, or you've just seen it. It happens in sports all the time, where management, ownership will decide that it's time for a change. And sometimes they're right. Sometimes they're right. Whether it was.
By the way, sorry to cut you off. Just so I can move on from this and have peace of mind. I'm sorry. 2 years before. I said the year before. They went to the Super Bowl 2 years before against. The Chiefs.
The Kansas City. And
then the year between when Garoppolo got hurt.
Quarter, the whole thing.
The year between Garoppolo got hurt. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Well, but I was going to say, look, it happened. Andy Reid decided that the replacement was in the house. When he had Alex Smith, drafts Patrick Mahomes, it's only a matter of time. It's going to be his team next year. And so sometimes, that person is there and management says it's time for a change and they're right. In this case, I can just say it. Management was wrong. And I'm not saying management was wrong to draft Trey Lance because I love Trey Lance. Management was right to draft Trey Lance and move up for him and say, this is our guy. They were wrong to say the time is now.
Yeah.
There was no reason to say the time is now. What you essentially did was you renegotiated Jimmy Garoppolo's contract to make it team friendly. So you could have done that.
Right. That's all I wanted to do in the first place.
Drama. Yeah, you could have just done that.
That's all I wanted to do in the first place. What bothers me more than anything, and again,
this is his team now.
It was never not his team. But it was never not his team, and that's the point.
Right.
It's like, I hate this for the kid, but things have a way of working themselves out. The problem that I had was, okay, you traded up to get Trey Lance. You wanted to move on from Jimmy, whether it's because of his own injury history or because of the dynamic element that Trey Lance brought that Jimmy Garoppolo does not, or Jimmy Garoppolo's limitations, whatever it is, you want to move on. So damn it, you needed to figure out a way to move on. Instead of being stubborn and being like, oh no, we're going to hold on to him, we're going to trade him. I felt like they should have cut him because the problem with this is that Trey Lance never earned it. Trey Lance inherited this team.
That's the right word. That's the right word.
Only because he was drafted was he the starting quarterback.
He didn't beat him out.
Third overall was he the starting quarterback. He never beat him out. And so I'm like, wait, you going to bring back somebody that he never beat out? Where they do that at? Sure enough, he doesn't have to beat him out. Unfortunately, he's out for the season. Now Jimmy Garoppolo takes over organically, and he moves forward. No harm, no foul. This is the luckiest trip up the stairs that I've seen for a team in a long time, because this was going to be a thing all year long. This was going to be a thing. Trey Lance, I don't know that he was all of a sudden going to become Steve Young overnight. And unless and until he did, Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be looking over his shoulder. Remember last time we talked about this, I think it was 2 weeks ago, was not naming Trey Lance a captain, adding to the drama. You know, because it would have been awkward if and when they had to bench a captain, which I still reject that. But it was just too much stuff. Yeah, he explained why. Because he hadn't earned it.
Yeah, he could have been a captain. Like, oh, dude, don't tell us. Now you're telling us too much. You're telling, yeah.
But I'm going to go with 6 instead of 7, conveniently.
Right. Well, we don't need to know that. Don't tell us that. Don't tell him that. But I also want to say that Jimmy Garoppolo has gotten a raw deal when the storytelling, he needs some more writers in the room. When we get to these narratives, Jimmy Garoppolo needs an advocate in the writer's room, because he has gotten swept up, and the writers have done him dirty in the San Francisco 49ers narrative. Jimmy Garoppolo is the reason we haven't won a Super Bowl. Well, hold on a second. Not exactly. It wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo who stood around and watched Tyreek Hill drop catch a prayer in the middle of a prayer meeting with the San Francisco 49ers on third and forever. It wasn't him. He didn't do that. He hasn't
won in San Francisco without Jimmy Garoppolo. Don't tell me just any quarterback he can win with.
Even last year. Wasn't it in the NFC Championship game? I can't remember who it was. You remember his name. Didn't somebody just like drop an interception? I mean, it was thrown right. It was a punt. It was game's over. Yeah. You can get to the Super Bowl. Okay, let's go logically. If you can get to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, if you can have a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter in the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, you mean to tell me you can't win a Super Bowl with Jimmy? You can't? That's his limit.
You can get there, but you can't win with him. Thank you.
Yeah, here we go.
You know, sometimes you just gotta dumb it down. Thank you for putting it that way.
And if you say it loud, like in a stupid, you talk about hot takery. So say it in a stupid hot takery way. All Jimmy Garoppolo can do is get you to the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl in a 10-point lead.
And a 10-point lead.
But he can't do anything beyond that.
All he can do is get you to the NFC Championship game. All he could do is you could win in spite of him all the way to the NFC title game. But that's where it ends. That's where the magic carpet ride ends with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, come on, man. Like, again, that's why. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my side of the aisle. Because at the end of the season, and you know it's true, I'm like, why are y'all dumping Jimmy Garoppolo? And sure enough, everybody was like, oh, the Browns should trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Last week, when Dak Prescott went down,
Cowboys.
Jerry should be on the phone getting Jimmy. So everybody else wants Jimmy Garoppolo. Why not the 49ers in the first place? I mean, it made no sense whatsoever.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.